Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Screen Sermon Podcast. It's the Boon! As was decided on the last episode of the show, and I'm sitting here once again with Josh. Josh, welcome back as always.
Happy to be back. I look forward to my eventual fucking animal name.
We had a conversation in the chat earlier where, due to some questionable texting skills, Cody has now been given the moniker Inky. And so you've got Inky and the Boon. So we're just waiting for Josh's spirit animal to show itself. I just want to apologize off the top that I am leaving for vacation the day after tomorrow, and my head is kind of already there. So I'm a little all over the place. I apologize if for whatever reason that comes through on the show. I'm a little bit out of it. So just wanted to apologize from the jump. But this week should be easy peasy because we're talking about coming soon for the month of July. So we're going to be talking about our top 3 most anticipated films for the month. Throw in a couple of honorable mentions, and hopefully get you folks out of here in a decent amount of time. So yeah, Josh, how you been?
I'm fine. I think we've pretty much decided that doing 4 of these apiece runs over what we want these to be. So we're going forward. We're gonna try to do 3.
Yeah. Even in those months where there's just a lot of good stuff coming out, I mean, that's part of the challenge is to try to narrow it down to your 3 most anticipated. So I think that's the way we do it moving forward, and get people out of here in about an hour or so. So let's go ahead and do that. So and then we'll still throw in some honorable mentions, but we're gonna try a new thing, and it's really just for me, and that's try to mention all the things that you're excited about seeing that don't make your top 3, but do it in 5 minutes or less. So let's see if I can do that. So Josh, without any more pomp and circumstance, are you ready to hit me with your number 3?
Are we doing honorable mentions first, though?
Did you want to do it from the front or did you want to do it at the end? I guess I should have asked you.
I always figured that they go first because it's like the people that what didn't make your top 3. So as you're counting down, they would technically be first.
That makes sense. Okay, well, let me start your timer. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'll be fine.
All right, and go.
So my first honorable mention is the new Haunted Mansion film, a second attempt to make an adaptation of the Disney Parks ride. I like the original with Eddie Murphy, so I'm excited for this one. My next honorable mention is The Flood. A thriller film where a flood causes a bunch of gigantic alligators to lay siege on a prison, and the prisoners and the prison wardens have to team up to essentially fight off these fucking gators. My third honorable mention, I have 4 by the way. My third one is We Might
Making
Hurt
good time.
Yeah, my third one is We Might Hurt Each Other, a Lithuanian slasher film that's inspired by Friday the 13th. I believe the franchise, not the original film. And I will see that, and it will be my first ever Lithuanian film as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
And lastly, I have Sympathy for the Devil, which is essentially Nicolas Cage meets Collateral. It looks insane. It's once again Nick Cage at his Nick Cageiest. So, I'm looking forward to that. So that's my honorable mentions list, and now you're on the clock.
All right, I stopped it as you sent it to me, basically. So you did that in 1 minute and 18 seconds. I'm very impressed. So I have 7, but luckily 2 of ours are the same, so I can gloss right past them. All right, let's see how I do. So essentially I have 1 minute to talk about each of these, if we're doing that. All right, so right off the jump, I also have Haunted Mansion and Sympathy for the Devil. I don't really remember the Eddie Murphy one that well, but the trailer for the movie looks good. So yeah, I'm in. And then Sympathy for the Devil, like you said, Nick Cage just looks like an absolute nutball. And I'm really interested to find out if at the end he actually is Satan. So we'll see what goes on there. Quick mention for Miraculous Ladybug and Cat Noir, the movie, coming to Netflix on July 28th. This is just another one of those ones where I'm excited to watch it with my kids. My eldest likes the series and watched all of it. And so when she found out that the movie was coming out, it was something that we both kind of perked up at. So I'm excited for it to come out just to watch it with her. The Jewel Thief is on there. It's a Hulu original that's coming out. It's a documentary about some dude who, given his circumstances growing up, very intelligent guy, but decided to start committing crime basically to get pocket money because he grew up in kind of a rough life and things like that. Anyway, he ends up becoming like this master of heists, and people are just wondering, like, how does he get away with all this? Looked interesting, kind of like a Making a Murderer kind of in-depth analysis of this guy. Bird Box Barcelona's on there. Gotta be honest, I still haven't watched the first Bird Box, so I think this is more of a kick in the pants for me to go ahead and do that and watch the Sandra Bullock film and then prepare myself for the sequel, because the sequel's trailer looks a lot more interesting than the first one's trailer did. So excited about that. Paradise is next. It's a sci-fi film that's coming out where essentially when you are owed when you owe on a loan, or I think even like prison sentences or something like that, if you commit a crime, there's now a way where they can take time off of your life as a way to pay for it. And from what I got from the trailer, a woman had to give 40 years of her life because of something that she didn't actually do. And so it's all about a race against time. Her husband's trying to get her time back because there's a way to reverse it. Hello, hero. He likes Paradise as well. And I'm looking at my list, and I think I've done it. Those are my honorable mentions as well. Hero was giving me the cut sign. But Josh, I'm going to need you to let him know I had 2.5 more minutes. So get off my back, dog.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up in June. I tried to cut it down to 5. I had 5. Then I realized that one of the 5 was one of yours, because I originally had all 3 of your picks on my honorable mentions, but I forgot to take the one off. So yeah, the tack on one, just in like 20 seconds, is the Beanie Baby Bottle documentary style film about Beanie Baby craze in the 90s.
Oh, so that's a documentary?
I thought so. I don't know.
I thought it was a dramatization, because I was going to mention to you, I think it's weird that there's so many of these dramas coming out about like merchandise.
Fucking Blackberry,
like Air,
Flamin' Hot,
Blackberry.
Yeah.
There's just a bunch of these movies coming out. Yeah. Well, now I'm going to bring it up and act like it's my idea. But it's really weird.
I guess
that was a quick and dirty way to get through the honorable mentions.
Yeah, I saved a lot of time because,
Yeah.
They're trailers, so a lot of the time we're kind of like extending these a little bit more in depth than you usually would. Jumping into it and using that as a transition. For my number 3, I don't really have all too much to say, because it's one of those trailers that, like, you get the gist of what it's about, but you don't get... And this is a good thing. I'm not downing it for this, but you get the gist of what it's about. It doesn't give much in the way of plot. I ran into that same problem with New Religion last time. I say problem, for the sake of, like, talking about it, but, like, that's my preferred method of trailer. Instead of showing me, like, major plot points that I'd rather see in the film. Like, fortunately, I never saw the Smile trailer before I wanted to watch it, so there was a part in that got spoiled in the trailer, but since I didn't see it, it scared the shit out of me in theaters, and I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Is that when the head dangles down?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, my number 3 is the American film Cobweb. There is also a South Korean film called Cobweb also releasing this year.
Are they the same premise, or is they completely different? Okay.
Completely different. They just happen to be both named Cobweb.
Okay.
It's directed by Samuel Bowden, who did Marianne, which I've heard things about. It's a Netflix original. but I haven't seen that. You'll come to understand through Screen Sermon that while I think I have a vast array of film knowledge, evidently I haven't seen a fucking thing. The amount of times that I say, "Oh no, I haven't seen it," is ridiculous.
I think that's true of all of us.
But yeah. So the gist of this film is essentially summed up as there's a kid who keeps hearing this. His name is Peter. He's 8 years old. He keeps hearing this tapping from inside the walls of his house, and his parents are telling him that, like, "Oh, you're just imagining it. It's all in your head." But he believes that there's something going on, and the parents are trying to cover it up. This movie gave me... Well, first of all, I think this could potentially be a better Boogeyman film than the Boogeyman that came out last month. I think it might be better because that left much to be desired. Not because it was bad necessarily. It was just very derivative of plenty of other films that I'd seen before. So it was just like... It was a paint-by-numbers film. So this could overtake that in being like the same sort of concept, but improved. Especially since... And I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but one thing I like to do when talking about a film is compare it to other things. Especially if it's like trailers, like, "Oh, this gives me this vibe." And this seemed to be very like Coraline meets The People Under the Stairs from Wes Craven.
Okay. Or The Boy.
Yeah, or The Boy. So I found that pretty interesting. I don't believe I recognize any of the cast from it, though. I know that the female lead was in Mean Girls, but other than that...
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the male lead was in The Covenant. I wrote that down when I was writing notes about the actors.
Man, I forgot about that movie, too. Yeah, this definitely had... I mean, like, it must be a Blumhouse movie. It has Blumhouse vibes to it.
I don't believe so. I think I wouldn't call it... Yeah, it's a Lionsgate, Vertigo Entertainment, and Point Grey Pictures. And apparently, part of it was filmed in Bulgaria. Which, you know, tax incentives and whatnot.
Right.
Which is a whole thing I could get into, because it's such a pain in the ass, but... You know. I just mentioned to my friends earlier that, first of all, it's sacrilege because I grew up in Baltimore but still have yet to see The Wire. However, I did grow up with it being filmed around me, and I didn't realize at the time, but it was like a major pain in the ass because they'd close off sidewalks, and I didn't understand like what they were filming and how popular it was. So looking back on it, it's like, oh yeah, I got annoyed by this major TV show being filmed in my neighborhood.
Yeah, I wonder how the people of Bulgaria feel. Or like Georgia, now everybody's filming in Georgia. All the same reasons, I guess, the tax breaks.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Or like certain areas of like Canada, like Vancouver, I think is big for that.
There was, I believe, a lot of that in Russia at one point. Not as much now, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Not going to touch that any more than that. But, you know. So yeah, you'd be pleased to know that while I haven't seen insert popular film here, the first one that comes to mind, well, I haven't seen The Breakfast Club. You'd be pleased to know that I have seen Mean Girls.
All the garbage films, you've seen those. No disrespect to anybody that enjoys Mean Girls.
Yeah, I like Mean Girls. Don't disrespect me.
Sorry.
You can't sit with us. Yeah, I haven't seen Lord of the Rings start to finish, but I've seen White Chicks, so...
Well, there's that.
It's basically Lord of the Rings.
Oh, God. I might shut this podcast down today. I don't know if I can continue talking to you for the rest of the evening.
So,
I was gonna go on vacation. I was gonna have a good time. Now you've said this.
It's gonna linger in your head the whole time you're like sitting on the beach with a margarita in your hand. You're like, you really just fucking compare Lord of the Rings to White Chicks?
This is every time Jay brings up Burn Notice in any kind of conversation we're having about something good. He'll make a little crack about like, yeah, that reminds me of this awesome episode of Burn Notice. And I'm like, that doesn't exist. Stop talking. But he likes to get those in there every once in a while.
So,
anything more from Cobweb? I remember, the trailer looked good. For some reason, when it hit,
because
for some reason, when I saw the thumbnail, I just skipped the trailer. I didn't watch it for some reason.
You're supposed to watch the episode.
Well, no, I did after you picked it. But when it first dropped on KinoCheck, I didn't watch it. And then when you put it in yours, I watched it. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
Poster's very mama-esque.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on in this movie. In terms of, what is it? And how are the parents involved? Are they complicit? Or is that like a red herring? Where it's not so much that they're involved, they're more just like, if you don't pay attention to it or something, it won't come out. So they're trying to deflect whatever the boy's asking them and stuff like that. That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had written for it, because there's like not too much to dive into unless I get into like speculatory territory. But like from an analytic standpoint, the only other thing I could talk about is shots, but I don't like to do that in trailers because they can differ vastly from trailer to film.
Yeah, it might not even, certain things won't even be in there.
Oh, that's...
Because they're literally shot just for the trailer.
Yeah, I love it when they do that, because you don't get to watch the same shit over and over again. You can, you got B-roll, you got shit that you cut from your film, just repurpose that for the trailer.
Yeah. It's like scenes that you really liked, but you know that it's going to mess with your runtime and it doesn't quite fit. It's like, okay, take it out and put it in the trailer.
Do you have any further thoughts on Cobweb?
No, I honestly, I didn't even know that it was a horror movie until you had chosen it. And then when I watched the trailer, like I said, it reminded me of a Blumhouse film, which I'm a fan of. And so I'm definitely excited for it to eventually come out to streaming. This is not one that I would go see in the theater, I don't think. But then again, my mother-in-law has become my big moviegoer pal, and we generally go see horror movies, so maybe it would be.
Alright, well, that being said, it releases on July 21st, and I believe it's in theaters, so if you're interested, go check out Cobweb.
And that'll bring me to mine, which I'm pretty sure is a Blumhouse film. So Insidious: The Red Door is my number 3. To be honest, I'm not 100% in love with this series. As a matter of fact, I don't think I saw the 4th one. And I know for sure that the 3rd one didn't star the same family. I think they were in it, but in a tertiary way, like as flashbacks or something like that. But it looks good, looks suspenseful. This is Patrick Wilson's directorial debut, so I'm certainly interested to see what he does behind the camera as well as in front of it. The family from the original 2 films is returning, so Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, they played the parents. Ty Simpkins plays the boy Dalton, who was the one being afflicted by the demon or the creature or whatever in the very first film, so he's still involved, and now he's of course a young man. And Lynn Shay, a legend in the horror world, is somehow still in these movies, even though she's not alive anymore. What else do I have here? Written in part, at least, by Lee Whannell, who was involved in the early entries in the series. These characters and the premise, I think, were all created by him, but I think the 3rd and the 4th movies were technically written by other people, but he was given writing credit because the characters belonged to him more or less, or they came from him originally. I think he's back in a partial writing credit here, like he had something to do with it. It sounds like the lion's share of the writing is going to this guy Scott Teems, who was also in on Halloween Kills, and evidently they made a Firestarter remake last year.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I had no clue.
Don't.
That it was... Okay. There you go. The only other thing I have is that it was filmed in New Jersey, so I guess they're another one of those places where it's less expensive to film things. And this is going to be a huge movie. It's going to make a buttload of money. I didn't see anything about a budget, which I usually try to find. But these are the kinds of films that end up raking in a lot of dough because they're generally PG-13. Or this might be the first R-rated Insidious, actually. Let me check that. Hold, please. Because it releases actually next week. And it'll be everywhere. It'll be on every screen. It'll be at the gas stations on those stupid TVs they put there. It's PG-13.
These coming soon episodes are very flash. I don't even remember what the hell I was about to say. They're very haps slash. What the fuck is the word I'm looking for?
Slapdash?
Yeah.
They are hap slapdash.
What
the hell was the point I was trying to make? Oh, yeah. Insidious. All these movies are PG-13, so they end up getting a lot of business because, kids can go. And so this is going to make a truckload of money, as I'm sure the rest of the series has. I don't know what the budget is, but it's going to make it back and then some, I imagine. Although the press for this movie, they've clearly spent a lot of money on advertisements because there are bumper ads and banner ads and stuff like that on all of these movie websites that I use for information. So they've clearly spent a lot of money on the advertising side. So, but that'll give them a steeper mountain to climb, but I assume they'll make their money back. But they say this is the last one, so take that for whatever you will. I don't know. With these franchises, who knows?
Yeah, if you couldn't tell, I was like pleading for help there for a minute. As I struggled to figure out what the hell the word I was thinking of was. What I was trying to say is these coming soon episodes are a lot more slapdash. Yeah, I got it right that time. Than
you did.
A lot of our other episodes. It's a lot of looking shit up to confirm stuff that we looked up earlier.
Yeah. I try to take notes, but then it's as we're in conversation about it, there's like, oh, I didn't take a note about that. So I need to look it up now.
So I've seen Insidious 1 way back when I was in middle school, and then I saw Insidious 2 also way back when I was in middle school, I believe. And I haven't seen either since, and I never saw any like third or fourth one.
I went looking for them just to see if they were out there, because I was like, well, maybe I can catch up on the series before this new one comes out. And the first and second one, I think, are on HBO. And then 3 and 4, of course, are not on anything. So it's like, did they change distribution, deals or whatever? So now only the first and second one are through HBO, but the other two are, yeah. So, but I guess for the sake of continuity, the first and the second one have to do with the same family specifically. So those are the two that you would probably want to watch prior to watching this one.
Yeah, I'll run through the franchise when in anticipation for this. Whenever I'm about to watch this,
yeah,
I'm pleased that it has Leywinell writing on it, who worked on the entire Saw franchise.
Yeah,
and has credits on each Insidious film, and he written and directed the 2020 Invisible Man film, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I like that movie a lot. That's the Elizabeth Moss, right? That's her name.
Right.
I enjoyed that movie very much.
Speaking of actors, you mentioned Firestarter. I didn't like that, but the only notable thing is it had Zac Efron in it, and he was alright in it. So.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. Yeah.
Shout out to Zac Efron.
There's not much, remakes are hit or miss. I don't even think that's worth covering on the pod. Unless we really feel like shitting on a movie.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
which we haven't really done.
We buried the original Fly movie, even though I still think it's great, but that's only because it was compared
we didn't bury it. I thought we were kind to The Fly.
Only point it got was from me.
Yeah, but we didn't talk bad about it. We said that we thought it was something that people should check out. It's just if you can only watch one of them, we would say watch the 86 version. But I don't think we buried you know what? The movies that we buried on this channel or on this show are Scream 2 and Scream 3.
Yeah, one of my favorite screen sermon moments was Jay going into the Scream episode, like, I love Scream 2, and by the end of it, like, I fucking hate this movie. Underrated. Go check out the Scream ranking episode. It's a bit long, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I think it's our 3rd episode ever. We ranked the Scream franchise, all 6 of them.
Gonna scatter plugs throughout this episode.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the TikTok. We haven't posted there, probably won't, but go subscribe to it.
I'll tell you what, if people start subscribing to it, I'll start posting. We're going to do this in reverse. I'm not going to start posting TikToks when nobody's looking at them.
This film, and I didn't watch 3 or 4, so I didn't realize this was a big deal, but evidently this is where the lipstick face demon is supposed to return.
Yeah. I didn't know he was gone.
Yeah, I didn't either. I thought he was the main antagonist, but
So did I.
I'm glad he's back.
That's my bad.
I guess.
Yep.
I do like the idea of Dalton being stuck with a demon that's like lived within him in the form of repressed memories. I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I don't exactly how that would work logically, but then again, I don't understand how demons would work logically because, well, I'm not gonna say that, but I don't understand how that would work logistically, what the rules are and whatnot, especially since different sources cite different rules and you can make that shit up as you go.
Right. Well, and this definitely seems to be focusing on Patrick Wilson's character, the dad. And although Dalton seems to be having some kind of problems because he's in college now, and he's definitely afflicted by something as well. So it seems to be kind of branching off to both of them now.
Very, him not remembering shit, and then re-remembering shit through drawing it out. It's very Will in Stranger Things-esque to me.
Yeah.
And the one caveat I'd say, and this has nothing to do with Patrick Wilson, it's just there's always like a little bit of a caution flag whenever somebody who's starred in a franchise directs one. They can be...
Can you give me an example? Because I'm not thinking of any.
I don't have one off the top of my head, but I know that, like, there are times where somebody's been with the franchise and then they go on to write or direct. Usually produce, but write or direct occasionally. And it does not even necessarily bad, but it can feel off. And there's the added thing of, I believe this is Patrick Wilson's first time directing.
It's his debut.
There's a lot of, I guess, pressure there. But, if it's the
I get the producing thing, because that's literally just, I believe in this project, so I'm going to throw some money at it.
Right, but the writing and directing, not to take away from their abilities, because Lord knows they could be the best writer or director in the world, but when you're an actor first, and you venture into a different territory of filmmaking, it can be hard to adjust.
The only one I can think of off the top of my head that was successful is Stallone, and that was he directed and starred in Rocky, and obviously that's a film classic.
Oh yeah, I'm still running through those every once in a while, trying to get for Creed 3.
I haven't watched any of the Creeds yet.
They're great. Creed 1 and 2 are among my favorite Rocky films, period. So, watch those. But then again...
I like Michael B. Jordan, and yeah.
Again, my favorite Rocky film is 4, so you take that as you will.
I love Rocky 4. Rocky 4 is awesome.
It's hit on a lot.
I don't see why. Rocky 5 I get. Rocky 5 sucks. But Rocky 4 is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess because I would imagine the political nature of a film at that time being anti-Russia and whatnot. And if you do any political thing whatsoever, somebody's going to have a problem with it.
Yeah.
That's not me taking a stance, so don't go and fucking clip that.
Yeah, right. Don't cancel our little podcast just because of,
Yeah, if you're gonna cancel me for anything, do it for the Boon bit. That's how I want to go.
Don't you dare cast a shadow over this podcast for the Boon joke that was made on the last episode.
Yeah,
that was one of the best things that ever happened to this show.
So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Insidious 5. Other than, as you said, it's a major release and it'll be everywhere,
all over the place. I love that we end our individual anticipated films like Forrest Gump, where we say that's all I've got to say about that, and then that's how we know to move on to the next one.
Rough. No, until you said that and blew our cover, it could just be us doing a bit and referencing Forrest Gump for some reason.
Well, I felt like it was time for a little comedic burst, so I decided to point out the Forrest Gump, the link there.
Well, on our cover, damn it. We have a show to do.
All right, take it away. Number 2.
Number two. What the hell was my number 2? Oh, right. My number...
Let me look at my notes. Just shuffle a bunch of papers around. We also do Foley on the show.
I had the notes where I wrote down my stuff on your picks up. So I saw your number 2 and I went, that is not my number 2. Don't worry, I'm going through
my notes right now.
My number 2 is Talk to Me, an Australian film about another one about a Ouija board. I haven't seen Ouija, but I heard only negative things. So, take that as you will.
I remember liking the first one.
Well,
I don't remember.
Got grouped into fucking movies that came out around that time and shit all over as a collective. Like I don't know, Oculus is one.
That movie's awesome. That's a Mike Flanagan movie.
Well, guess what? People hate it. So.
Well, they're wrong. The movie's great.
Mirrors, also, I believe.
Is that Kiefer Sutherland film?
I have no idea. I saw it with you a long time ago.
Did you really?
Yes. The only time I saw Mirrors is when we were living together.
Yeah.
And it was back when you had your PlayStation set up in my mom's room.
Okay.
Way when you first moved in, before you got your shit all set up.
And we just sat in there and watched Mirrors for some reason.
I don't know. It's a happy memory of mine. You came home with a big ass brown bag of 15 McChickens. You were like, "Do you want to watch a movie?" And I was like, "Sure." And you put on Mirrors, and we just fucking devoured a family-sized portion of McChickens together. Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever had McChickens too. It turned me on to those. So I was like, Jesus Christ! Why did you buy all these for you? Did you expect one for me? Was that your way?
Not necessarily, but I wanted to be prepared.
Was that your way to get me to watch Mirrors with you? You're like, hey, I got this fucking Santa sack of McChickens.
I'm really scared of this movie. I don't want to watch it by myself.
Anyway, talk to me. Jesus Christ.
By the way, before you even get started, I knew you were going to have this on your list. Because it's obvious. But I'm pissed that you have it on your list because I wanted it to be on mine. Not that it means anything.
Where would it fall? Where would it fall if you had?
This is my most anticipated film of July.
So I stole your number 1.
Yeah, and it's your number 2. That's what pisses me off.
well, when you get to my number 1, I'm surprised you're not. We're jumping way ahead here, but I'm surprised you're not more interested in my number 1 than my number 2.
More interested?
Yeah.
Because I am interested in your number 1, but not nearly as much as number 2.
Well,
Not nearly as much as Talk to Me.
My goddamn list, so we're doing it this way.
Just saying, I wish it was on mine. Go ahead.
So Brandon, the Boon's most anticipated film of this month, July 2023.
His true number one.
My number two, Talk to Me, which also is an A24 film, which I keep forgetting because it does not give A24 or A24. I still don't know how to pronounce that.
I've always said A24, but yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't give that kind of vibe. Although I don't know. I feel there is, because like I keep forgetting also the Witch, the Lighthouse. There are more. I just can't. I know that they have dipped their toes into horror quite a bit, but because they're more, I don't know, art house films, and this feels way less artsy. It's kind of weird to me seeing that logo. Although I like the transition from the embalmed hand, which is featured in the film, into the logo.
That was cool.
Two. So this is a film about a Ouija board out of Australia featuring an embalmed hand. The directorial debut, unless they did television, because it never shows that when I look up what they directed. Of Danny and Michael Philippou,
I guess.
That's what we're going with.
Yeah.
Not good at pronouncing foreign names. Sorry.
Another director pairing. I feel like that's becoming more and more of a thing.
Yeah.
Like the Daniels just won the Oscar for it. The Coen brothers, the Wachowskis. Oh, that's right. That's a duo as well.
Right. And I love them, by the way. They did I know. Ready or Not, which I liked way more than you did, apparently.
I liked it. You just liked it more.
It's very reminiscent in its plot, where a bunch of people. I don't remember if it was a party or if it was like it's in college, right? I don't remember if it was like a hazing thing where it's like a pledge. But anyway, they end up playing this parlor game reminiscent of like shit you'd play in your younger days, like Bloody Mary or random stuff from like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it read to me too.
Stuff you'd play with your friends. And then the whatever is possessing the embalmed hand latches onto you. What I wrote is this is the horror adaptation of one of those trick or treat bowls with a hand inside, where you go to grab a piece of candy and it goes.
In a world where they're making movies out of board games, we have now dumbed it down to. We've dumbed it down now to now we're making films about novelty Halloween bowls.
And they made a Spirit Halloween movie, so yeah,
I missed that one.
It's a movie, and I watched it. It's not bad, but sure it's not good either. It's fine. If you watch it with your kids when they get older, assuming they're, it's not a horror movie. It's like a Goosebumps movie, but prolonged.
Okay.
Anyway, so this first of all, extremely Australian film to the extent that there's a fucking kangaroo in the trailer.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Really interesting to me. Again, I don't have way too much to say about it, except for like the "it felt amazing" line when she gets seemingly like possessed, or not possessed necessarily, but she has bridged the gap between life and death, so she's like not necessarily in purgatory, but she's a little bit between. She's crossed the bridge, so to speak. So she knows what's on the other side. And I guess the horror element, or the plot device, is that the door's not shut all the way, so Lord knows what can get in or get out. Yeah. Relatively. So I think that's really neat. Because it's like as framed as if being that close to death but not dead is like comparative to a drug or being drunk, alcohol, something that it releases endorphins in your body. A new experience. Very reminiscent of Cronenberg in that regard, especially one of his more recent films, possibly his more recent film. I don't remember if he did anything after it. Crimes of the Future.
That's on my short list. I need to watch that.
Oh, I love that movie. Really fucked with me, like well after the fact. There's got some concepts in it that are daunting if you think about them too hard.
Yeah.
So and it's sort of like this. So where there's this new form of pleasure, and in this they don't necessarily all gravitate towards it, but the lead character is like, wow, that was great. And that's something that resonates with me for whatever reason. The unknown, exploring a random bullshit that's new to you that causes all these emotions rushing up. Something about that very eerie to me. So that's why I lean toward this a lot. This is something that's been on my list since around the top of the year when I saw the first trailer in theaters.
Yeah. Same. And then, some of the things that I took out of it were, the lead has an anniversary of the death of her mother, it sounds like, coming. And that's the catalyst to get her to go to this gathering and to get herself involved in this. And everybody within this social circle seems to be familiar with the hand and the ritual that they do. Like the lore and the rules and stuff like that seem to be understood by most of them. And they're filming it on their cell phones and stuff like that. So it definitely, it seems like whatever entity is living in the hand is able to kind of read a person, because there's a specific mention when it looks like she's possessed that he likes you or it likes you or something like that. And I'm assuming it's because of all the grief that she has over, thinking about her mom's death and stuff like that. Or her sadness, maybe. Yeah, vulnerability. And then the other thing that I noted was the hazy, blurry visage of what looks like her mom that she encounters at one point in the trailer, and you can tell that something about it is not right, but you don't get a chance to really see what. So yeah, it looks really cool. I'm into the A24 brand, and when they release horror movies, they generally tend to be more thought-provoking. And the ones that you go back and watch over and over again to try to notice some of the things in the background, or notice what did that stuff say on the table? Because it's all related. And, there's just a lot more thought put into it, I feel.
Yeah, and this was highly regarded at film festivals as being one of the breakout horrors of the year.
So that's exciting.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I'd love to know where the hell the hand came from, or if we find out. I mean, maybe it's better that we don't, but,
I would assume we don't, but yeah.
So, that being said, this releases on July 28th, my mom's birthday. Shout out to my mom.
Shout out Josh's mom.
And it should be pretty much everywhere. It's another, I think everything sans Cobweb and one other film is going to be pretty much easily, everything except for Cobweb should be easily accessible, because I can't imagine Cobweb would have as wide release as all of the other films we're going to talk about. There's one film that's not getting a theatrical release that we'll get to when we get to it. But since it's on streaming service, it's still readily accessible.
You should be able to find it
everywhere. Looks incredibly interesting. So, unless you have anything else to say, you can jump into your second pick.
I'll do that, because the trailer doesn't give too much away, and I'm just excited. I can't wait till it comes out.
And that's all I have to say about that.
There you go.
Gimmick.
That's my cue. So my second most anticipated film of the month, really my third, is Oppenheimer. So Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt. I mean, this has so many people in it, but this is Christopher Nolan's newest film. It's got a stacked cast. Cillian Murphy, Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr., Josh Hartnett, who I haven't seen in ages, Florence Pugh, which is great because Cody and I, as you all out there in listener land will come to find out, we just recorded an episode about Midsummer that's coming out next week while I'm away, so looking forward to seeing the reaction to that. Jack Quaid from the new, well, not the new, I guess, the 2022 or 2021 Scream, as well as The Boys, of course. Gary Oldman, Kenneth Branagh, Rami Malek, Dane DeHaan even, who, he's notable, but he's not in tons of stuff. Just an incredible cast. Filmed in Los Alamos, New Mexico, which is actually where I think this all happened. Effectively, the plot is a scientist named Robert J. Oppenheimer makes some incredible breakthroughs in the process of creating an atomic bomb during World War II. And it's all about this town that gets built in Los Alamos, New Mexico, in order to house the most brilliant scientific minds in the country, and give them a place to live while they work this situation out, because Germany is supposedly 18 months ahead of us in the race to build an atomic bomb. And I read that it's got a 3 hours running time, which doesn't surprise me because it's a Christopher Nolan film and they tend to be pretty long. $100 million budget, which, considering the cast, I'm kind of surprised it's that low. It's being directed, I said, by Chris Nolan, but it was written and written for the screen by him as well. So he's really, evidently he read the book that this film is based on by Kai Bird and Martin Sherwin. And I think he just ran with it and really enjoyed the source material and wanted to make a movie about it. Another thing of note, this I didn't know, but the music in the trailer very much sounds like Hans Zimmer, but it's not. Hans Zimmer is not doing the score for this film. As a matter of fact, he didn't do the score on his last film either, which I didn't know because I didn't see Tenet. But it's this guy named Ludwig Göransson, and evidently Hans Zimmer wasn't available for Tenet or this film because he was working on the two Dune films. But I mean, his stuff sounds a lot like Hans Zimmer. I'm sure that he was very much influenced by Hans Zimmer when he was coming up in the industry. But it's heavy hitters cast. I'm a Christopher Nolan fan. I've enjoyed Christopher Nolan's work for most of his directorial career. I haven't seen every single one of his films, but I've seen most of them. And yeah, I don't think that it looks like it's going to be a huge Oscar winner. I think it's going to win a bunch of awards. Maybe not Best Picture, but I think it's going to win a bunch of awards. And yeah, it looks like a big blockbuster, and it releases on July 21st, and it's going to be everywhere. It's another one where the ads are just on everything. So,
right.
What did you take from it?
I thought for sure that this was going to be your number one. And I was so surprised when you had it as number two, especially since what you had behind.
Okay.
And that's nothing taking away your number one, because that looks great too. But I thought that this would be your number one. When I said, all right, here are my three, I know what your number one is, I thought it would be this.
Okay.
I've only seen Christopher Nolan's Batman films. I haven't seen any of his other stuff. So, if that's future episodes or not is yet to be seen, but take that as you will. I know that Cillian Murphy... How are you supposed to pronounce his name? Is it Cillian?
I always say Cillian, but I'm not sure.
I'm just going to call him Cillian. What's he going to do?
That's fine.
He going to team up with Joaquin Phoenix? Because take down
he doesn't need your help.
Along with Aretha Franklin. Why'd I say Aretha Franklin? Yeah, Aretha Franklin was in fucking Black Panther, apparently. God damn it.
Wait, is that a shoot?
What? No.
Aretha Franklin was in Black Panther?
I just said the wrong name because I'm thinking of fucking Aretha Franklin.
Well, then I'm thinking of her music, and I'm like, no, I think they... the score for that was pretty original, wasn't it?
I don't know why she's on my mind. But... in any case. Another...
You know what I'm going to throw one as a hashtag to this one.
What the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, another biopic movie, which along with like the product films and making of insert product here movies, biopics are becoming popular again. We got Elvis and Blonde last year, and probably plenty of others that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. But I know we got a few in the recent years, and they seem to not only do well, and not only have these long-ass run times, but also becoming more and more popular.
Yeah.
This narrowly escaped being on my top 3 because of the damn runtime. And I know he's known for this, but it's a put-off for a 3-hour film because it's something that I have to work around. Like when I have time, like, all right, I have some free time, I'm going to put on insert movie here. It's harder to do with 3-hour films. Unless you watch them in parts. But if you watch them in parts, you don't get the same experience as if you did it all in one go. And I didn't know this was a book, so I guess that gives it a little bit more leeway in my eyes. Because I'm a massive hypocrite, and I think things like The Batman, which was also 3 hours, was great and did great use of its runtime. Whereas this, especially being a biopic, I was a little bit hesitant about, because I even thought Elvis ran a little bit too long.
I did too.
Just because there's so much that could be cut out, that while important to the life of the person as far as plot goes, was less so.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, you're onto something with the because like I of course like to watch movies, and my wife and I generally stick to TV shows because by the time the kids are in bed and all that stuff, the amount of time that we have to watch something is usually about an episode of television long. And so we can watch an hour of a show, or we can watch an hour of a film and then watch the rest of it tomorrow.
Yeah, but
and it's most of the time you just choose to watch a show because a movie isn't the same when you have to break it up into 2 pieces.
Right. So 3 hours. It's not that I don't want to watch it, but it's like it's almost like a chore to find time to watch it.
Yeah.
Because, I have other shit going on in the day, and a 3-hour block of time out of my day, it's just a lot.
Sure, absolutely.
So, that's why it didn't make my top 3. But I don't know, maybe it makes perfect use of its runtime. I'll still watch it, and I guess I'll find out there. I haven't read the book, nor did I know there was a book. So I wasn't exactly sure how they were going to turn the story of Oppenheimer into a 3-hour drama, let alone a feature drama.
Right.
So that's weird, but I like that it's not that I thought it would be a fucking comedy, obviously, but I like that. Like, it's playing up the seriousness of what he's trying to create, given the massive. And again, I'm not taking a political stance on this, but I have to. It's impossible to talk about something that ended a war without delving into that territory. No stances here. Nothing I'll admit, because I don't want people bitching.
We just got canceled twice in the same episode.
But I hope that he, because I imagine, even though the trailers showed more so the making of and not the aftermath of, I imagine, given the runtime, that they will cover, like, okay, we made this and we used this. I'm hoping they touch on the results of it, and not entirely from an American point of view, also. Because I think it's important to note that while we can sit here in our country and look at this massive win, countless innocent people lost their lives to this, and it was a brutal death for many people. And it's important to note that not everybody died right away. Plenty of people spent their lives suffering because of the effects of radiation poisoning and the lack of a cure, and essentially just waiting it out, or in some cases committing, I don't want to say the word because it's going on YouTube, but you know the word.
Yeah.
So I hope that they touch on, especially since Oppenheimer admitted regret with doing this in the first place, even though the results could be argued good or bad through various points. I just hope that
Well, yeah, there's
something.
There's that line in the trailer about like him giving them the power to destroy themselves.
Yeah, because they show how unsure he was in the trailer. Like this could the chances of this destroying the world are almost zero. They're not zero, but like almost zero, because you don't know what's going to happen because it's never been done before.
Right.
So I appreciate that it takes it doesn't blow over the fact that this is something that is essentially the ultimate destroyer. And Lord knows what the effects could actually be, let alone the fact that we dropped fucking 2 of them.
Yeah.
I just hope they touch on the other side of the pond aspect, because I feel like that's a more respectful way of looking at it, because we have a very American-centric point of view when it comes to war. So I think this is my patriotic fucking speech. I think it's important to note that behind every war there are humans on both sides that have not necessarily an allegiance to either side, but are still being impacted by it. Josh, 2020.
Well, and with our relation, and with our relationship with Japan, and how we communicate with them now and work with them now, you would assume that you would want to make sure that you're doing this from a respectful lens, so as not to offend anyone and things like that. So yeah, I would assume they're going to give that. The other thing that I had figured was, with the way the trailer looks, does it literally just end with the bomb going off? If the whole film is essentially a countdown to when the bomb explodes, and so basically Oppenheimer presses the button, you see kind of the beginnings of an explosion, and then the credits roll.
God, the most disrespectful thing they could do is make a fucking cliffhanger and have Oppenheimer 2. But then again, they made a Titanic 2, so...
Yeah.
And then to be topical, we had a real Titanic 2.
I'm ready for your number 1, sir.
Thought you were going to say the release date.
Oh, I thought I did. I'm sorry. It releases on July 21st, and it will be in every theater.
Maybe you did, but I'm making you do it again.
At every gas station.
It's coming
everywhere.
Directly to your fucking LG smart refrigerator.
It's gonna be satellite beamed into your eyes. You're not gonna be able to
sleep
avoid it.
And you're gonna dream about the entire 3-hour runtime of Oppenheimer. You're gonna wake up a changed man. Or woman.
Or woman, that's right.
So, without further ado, my number 1, which evidently surprised the shit out of you, because beat out talk to me. My number 1, and I didn't think that this would ever be something I look forward to so much, is the Barbie movie, directed by Greta Gerwig, who did both Little Women and Lady Bird, neither of which have I seen, which is a running theme on the show.
So it's not so much that I was surprised that you wanted to see this film, because I'm interested to see this film. It's more about it being your number 1, where I'm like, why is he this excited to see this film?
Because it's like, I don't know, it's a first of all, and I'll confirm this with you later on after we watch it, but I think that this is worth, as it stands, covering on the pod, as a review.
Okay.
Because I'm confident that I'm going to like it. It's starring...
So instead of Josh needs to see, we'll do Josh has to watch.
Well, I thought we would just do a Barbie review, but sure, you can do whatever.
No, that's fine. We can do a Barbie review.
I mean, it could be I don't know. I don't know.
I'm assuming Cody will watch it as well, so we can all talk about it.
I like it because it looks like a massive shitpost of a movie. It's like a fever dream. It's like...
Yeah.
It's a comedy, but they took Barbie and made it a surreal comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super bizarre, which is, I think, the primary reason I love it. It had Margot Robbie as Barbie, which is like a perfect casting, and Ryan Gosling
Yeah,
as
it
Ken,
is.
which I was really hesitant about first, but once the trailer started to drop, I was like, oh yeah, just take my money now. Just take it in advance. Cause he is like the perfect himbo in this movie.
Did you just use the term himbo?
Hell yeah, I did.
This is where I show my age. Either that or
That is a
you're
male
making
bimbo.
shit up. I figured as much, but I wanted to make sure.
It's not
All right.
not necessarily a derogatory term. You can be, there's nothing wrong with
You could be a respectable bimbo.
You could be stupid
Or
and
himbo.
attractive and a great person.
There you go.
I love that the set design in this movie is what I think will be the highlight of it, more so than anything else, even though I like the casting. Especially Will Ferrell, who's the Mattel CEO and is the main antagonist, because he's like, why the hell is this toy line real all of a sudden? But the set design, I think, is going to take it away, because everything looks like an actual Barbie set that like your daughter would play with or you'd see in the store.
Yeah.
It's like a one by one, like, wow, this is just a big ass Barbie set. And the montage shots that they show in the trailer also, they look like paintings the way they transition. I don't know what the score is going to be like. I heard leading up to the film that Aqua's Barbie girl was not going to be in the film, but it made its way into the trailer.
Yeah, it was in the trailer.
And Make Your Own Kind of Music was also in the trailer, which I immediately associate with Lost, because I love that show, and it's a fantastic show. Everyone's seen Lost, I'd imagine. So.
Not everyone, but I have.
Everyone important.
Cody has, so that's the three of us.
I'm getting canceled so hard on this show. You're not important if you haven't seen Lost. That on a shirt.
I would definitely rather we get canceled for our opinions on films rather than get canceled for saying things we aren't allowed to say or shouldn't say.
Going out, my claim to fame is getting crucified for talking about the Barbie movie, personally.
Yes.
But yeah,
you're gonna champion that movie hard.
So, I don't believe they ever even explain how Barbie and Ken got into the real world, but somehow they were able to no longer be toys and be in the real world. And
them and the others too, because like when she's sitting around with the other gals and she's just like, oh my god, my foot all of a sudden became flat. So it's like, okay, so to them they still have the Barbie doll feet that are automatically in high heel mode.
I think it's because she made the decision to go into the real world. But I
gotcha.
That's very Little Mermaid-esque to me.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
And I don't know, it's so bizarre because, like, in the film, there's a lot of shots that you're like, well, how the hell does this tie into a narrative? It's just a lot of things happening. And it's weird to say it like that, because it's not a bad thing. But outside of that, I think a super interesting thing about this film is how insane the marketing was.
Yeah.
I would say this film has better marketing than any other film we're going to talk about, probably for the rest of the year. And I have a list.
Yeah, probably.
I have a list. I saved a Twitter thread so I could read it on the pod because it's insane.
Okay.
Here's a list of Barbity?
Barbity. There it is, man. You found it. I don't know what the animal is, but the Boon, Inky, and Barbity.
I gotta look that up
my
in
God.
a little bit. It's probably a bird. Well, ugly ass.
I'm looking it up now. You read your list.
Featherless bird.
How would you spell Barbity? A-D-Y?
B-A-R-B-A-D-Y.
That's how I would do it, too. All right,
So here's a
list.
list of some of the marketing for this film. And I've recognized that
All right.
we're pretty much gone over an hour, but as long as it's below 90 minutes, I think we're good. So I should probably shut the
That's
fuck
the
up
goal,
and start talking.
Instead of spelling it out for us, why don't you just tell us?
So the first thing, an Xbox themed, an Barbie themed Xbox console that looks like a Malibu Barbie Playhouse with themed controllers and a Barbie set that goes on top of it. 2, a actual Barbie dream house was built somewhere in Malibu. That is like a 1x1 recreation of the Barbie movie. I mean, of the Barbie playset's Malibu Playhouse. And it's incredibly pink. And I heard that this film actually caused a shortage of pink paint because of how much they used in the film.
That's insane.
There is Barbie marketing on select grocery store brand ground beef. You can get your Barbie themed ground beef chuck if you want. I'm not making this up. Oh,
but they tell me that's not it.
No, I just need a minute. I'm hoping that's not fake.
You're recovering.
I'm pretty sure. Anyway, the Forza Horizon did a crossover with the Barbie movie where you can get the car from it. I forget what the hell it's called, but in the film, a Hot Wheels line tie-in with Barbie-themed cars has released. The cast was interviewed at a hotel that became Barbie-themed to promote the interview and the release of the movie. Aldo Shoes has dropped a shoe line for the movie. Progressive did a crossover ad with the Barbie movie.
That's amazing.
Once again, select cinemas are doing Barbie-themed cups to promote the movie. There is a Ruggable collab with Barbie-themed like placemats and welcome mats that are Barbie-themed.
Okay.
The ice cream shop Pinkberry has a menu item that is Barbie-themed that tastes like strawberry and dragon fruit. I'm not done yet. Homesick Candles has a Dreamhouse Barbie-themed candle that is sandalwood, sweet penny, and lemon zest scented.
I was gonna guess just filthy plastic.
Yeah, it smells like burnt plastic. There are billboards and shit on buses and everything. Forever 21 and
shit on buses.
Forever 21 and Claire's have Barbie-themed clothes and accessories. NYX Cosmetics has their Barbie-themed makeup palettes as well as nail polish. Impala has a crossover Barbie with Barbie branded roller skates.
The hell is Impala? I mean, I guess they make roller skates.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a fucking roller.
Oh, you know what? Fanatic. She does. She wears them bright ass green and pink rollerblades in the movie, in the trailer. So I'm assuming that's what that yellow. Is. Okay.
These are hurt your eyes, punch your grandma yellow.
Yeah, the ones she has on in the movie are like neon. But I thought they were green and pink. They might have been yellow.
There is dragon glassware themed martini glasses and wine glasses that are Barbie themed and pink tinted. They're actually pretty neat.
Oh my god. Okay.
There is a interactive experience called The World of Barbie that you could check out if you're in LA.
Alright.
There is a big ass letter B that says it stands for Barbie, but I think it stands for Boon. That you can buy on funboy.com or whatever.
Wait, what is it? It's just a bee?
It's the Barbie logo, the bee.
But, like, what do you do with it? Is it like a stick it to the wall kind of thing? Oh. Sorry.
There is a lunchbox and thermos that you can get from the Alamo Draft House while supplies lasts.
Ooh.
Chicago has a pop-up Barbie cafe and roller skating rink. Arch Digest.
By the way, if anybody wants to buy the show The Giant Bee so that it can be B for Boon, just let me know in an email and I'll set up a PO box and you can send it.
Yeah, we're having the audience make our fucking merch, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's like I would love to do a video, right? Like we'll actually video the podcast and put the video out. But it's so not worth looking at because it's literally just white walls behind me. But if I make one of those YouTube walls where I've got all my fun shit behind me, it would actually be worth it. We could start with a big ass B for Boon.
What else? How much?
Sorry, go on.
Oh yeah, I got more evidently. Arch Digest did a tour of the Barbie Dream House. I don't know what that entails because it's a link, so I'm just reading it. Target, Show Me Your Moo, and Gap have Barbie themed clothing for kids.
The hell is Show Me Your Moo?
I don't know. I giggled reading it. Warner Brothers is doing an official Barbie themed boat cruise in Chicago. I don't know how the fuck you do a cruise in Illinois, but go ahead.
Lakes.
There's Moon Oral Beauty has an officially licensed Barbie toothbrush. Bees Travel has Barbie luggage collab. There are in Canada Pooch, you can get your Barbie licensed pet clothes if you want to show everyone that you hate your pets. At the DC Pride Parade, there was a bunch of people in a sponsored bit where a bunch of people in roller skates came out to promote the Barbie movie. And finally, bright ass. Oh no, not finally. There's more. Bright ass pink Barbie themed bus benches. There are Barbie themed, Barbies obviously to promote the movie. Food Net. Am I boring you?
No, evidently they're making dolls out of this now.
Who would have thought? Food Network did a baking episode on Barbie shit.
Okay.
I don't like the way I worded Barbie shit. Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice are apparently doing a song based on the Barbie movie. There is a TV spot on HGTV launching a Barbie Dream House challenge. So if you want someone to come in and make your house bright ass pink and your neighbors will hate you and you'll violate all of your HOA shit, and you can do that. There's a Barbie selfie generator, which I'm going to get on immediately. And finally, for real this time, another partnership with an ice cream brand, a cotton candy flavored themed cake at Cold Stone Creamery. So needless to say, the marketing budget for this film is more than I will make in my lifetime.
Well, and I was going to say, how does this movie make its money back?
It's going to be all me.
It might, you're just going to have to keep going because...
Gosh, the Barbity.
The Barbity. I don't want to disparage this film, but I don't know who this movie is for.
Me.
It's for you?
Yeah.
Just you.
Correct.
I mean, is it for little girls who played with Barbies when they were younger and now they're seeing a film coming out about it, so they're going to go see it?
I don't know. It's a Greta Gerwig film, and this is not what I would imagine from her. So I feel like her audience itself and like the fact that it's such an odd pairing is going to bring a lot of eyes to it. Along with it's something that your kids will watch, and I don't know. It's one of those big releases that I think people who are interested in seeing like us will watch all the major releases of a year, regardless of their subject matter. We'll see. Yeah. Because it's like this is a major release that it needs to be seen. I think it'll do really well, personally.
You do? I'm concerned with everything that you just read, and then trying to imagine the niche audience that. I guess I see your point because it is a big.
To put it this way,
tentpole movie.
Letterboxd does. You can rank like whatever most people have on their watch lists. So that through that you can see what the most look forward to films that haven't been released yet are, and Barbie's number 1 above Oppenheimer. So evidently, a shit ton of people want to see it.
So it's a mountain to climb with all those advertising dollars they spent, but evidently they feel like they could do it. So they know better than I do.
I mean, hell, I'm seeing this with my friend Kyle, who did our logo, by the way. And
thanks, Kyle.
And
hope you're still listening to the show. Like we do occasionally bring you up just to shout you out.
Yeah, I had to shoot him down because his dumbass wanted to actually go out and purchase, because you can't rent. He wanted to purchase a bright ass hot pink suit to wear to the Barbie movie, and I was like, Kyle, please. So he's coming down to my house to go see Barbie together, and we're gonna. I don't know. It looks like a fun movie, so I imagine it'd be extra fun to see with friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was 15 minutes of talking about just Barbie movie merchandise. So I'll end this with it's coming out on July 21st. It'll be in every damn theater in America, and evidently
and every gas station,
ice cream store. So take it away.
I'm just going to keep using that.
Take it away, Boon.
So this is going to be a quick one. This one snuck up on me. But my number one is They Cloned Tyrone. And it's another one that, when it came to KinoCheck, I didn't watch the trailer right away. And then I read the premise in preparing for this episode, and I saw the cast too, and thought to myself, this looks amazing. So I need to see this trailer, and so I did. And yeah, it looks great. It looks like a great throwback to like 70s blaxploitation, but it's intermixed with very cheesy like 80s sci-fi.
Sorry.
Are you reading more about Barbie shit?
No, I took a minute to look up Barbie, and the first thing that popped up...
And Officer Barbrady.
Officer Barbrady.
I looked that up too, and I was like, other than Officer Barbrady, I'm not seeing anything.
Officer Barbrady and the Barbados.
Yeah, the Barbados flag. So They Cloned Tyrone is it looks like a sci-fi film, like a mystery kind of thing. There's essentially a government program to clone people, specifically in this black neighborhood. John Boyega's in the film. Jamie Foxx is in it. Tiana Paris is in it, who I don't think I've seen her in anything, but she looks like she's hysterical. So I'm excited to see her in this role. And then what I thought was interesting, David Alan Grier, who I haven't thought about very much since the days of In Living Color and like Blank Man and stuff like that. He's in this film, but he's unnamed. Like, his character doesn't have a name, so I don't know if he's literally playing David Alan Grier or what. And then Kiefer Sutherland is the same. He's also unnamed. I didn't see a part for him, but he's in the cast. It was filmed in Atlanta, and it essentially, I mean, it's hysterical. The trailer's very funny, lots of great lines, most of them coming from Jamie Foxx. He seems to be the star of the show as far as from a comedic standpoint. And yeah, it sounds like there's a plot in place to kidnap and clone the people of this specific neighborhood. There's a lot of discussion about how whatever they're using to brainwash people is in the common not supplies, but like the common things that are bought within this, this culture, within this group of people. It's like, what the hell was it? Well, obviously it's at the chicken restaurant. Jamie Foxx is like slapping the box of chicken out of somebody's hand and saying like, the shit's in the chicken, and then they're checking the like the hair product, and then he goes, they even put it in the fucking grape drink, and he's holding up bottles of grape drink. It looks really funny. Evidently their whole headquarters is underneath of a gas station. I love it at the end of the trailer. That whole bit where he has an entire mob of people from the neighborhood, and they're all armed to the teeth with bats and planks of wood and guns. And he's asking the guy behind the counter, like, could you point me to the spooky ass elevator and I will be out your atmosphere. I thought that was really funny. This is Jewel Taylor's directorial debut. He also wrote it. He's previously a screenwriter, and so this is all a nice little loop that we can make. He wrote Creed 2, and so I know you said you liked that film. He also wrote or co-wrote Space Jam: A New Legacy, which I didn't see, but Wobbert shit all over it. Yeah.
My first note was directed and written by Jewel Taylor, who wrote Creed, yay, and who also wrote Space Jam Legacy, fuck.
It's a real mixed bag there. And it was co-written by Tony Rettenmayer, who also co-wrote Space Jam with him, so his his accomplice on that one is going to join him for this one. And he, from what I saw previously, he did a bunch of cinematography work. Yeah, I mean, the mystery of this is really interesting to me. I'm intrigued to see what happens. I have a sneaking feeling that Kiefer Sutherland is the villain. I think that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I really want to see where it goes. I'm interested to see John Boyega in a different role as well. I'm not used to seeing him, I mean, really in anything but Star Wars. I don't know what else I would have seen him in. And Tiana Paris looks like she has a great time with this role. Jamie Foxx is always fun to watch. But it comes out on July 21st, and it's a Netflix original, so, you know, most people have access to a Netflix subscription through one means or another, so it should be pretty widely available for everybody to see. But yeah, it looks hilarious. I'm looking forward to it. And one thing, before you give me your notes on They Clone Tyrone, I'm going back to Barbie. I forgot to give this little bit. So mark my words. This is my prediction for what Barbie is going to be about. At the end of the film, you're going to find out that this whole time, the plot of the film has been a couple of little girls playing with Barbie dolls.
It's going to lead into a cameo from the Hungry Hungry Hippos, and we're going to start the Mattel Cinematic Universe. Ken and Barbie are going to get eaten by 4 fucking hippos. Anyway, yeah, so They Clone Tyrone. Very surprised that it was your number 1 over Oppenheimer. A Netflix original, which I've mentioned before on the show, always is a little bit of a red flag because their stuff is more miss than hit, but it is hit or miss. Not that they don't have plenty of good stuff also, but it's enough bad stuff that comes out that I'm like, all right, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But fortunately, this film looks great. I had to watch the trailer twice because I wanted to confirm whether or not it took place in the 70s, because it gave very 1970s vibes. It does not. It's just very influenced by blaxploitation movies of the 70s, which were very prominent then, as well as the 60s to an extent. But, you know, predominantly the 70s, you get shit like Blackula, and I only know horror ones for the most part, but there's plenty. And
like I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, I think was also a 70s film. Or like Shaft or Dolomite.
Yeah, I wanted to say Shaft, but I haven't seen Shaft, so I didn't want to bring it up. Even though it was my first exposure to Shaft was it being referenced in the X-Files when fucking Mulder was high. But yeah, so I was reading a little bit about it because I was very, very intrigued because its plot. First of all, its plot is something that somehow I have seen before, to a degree, and I have no idea where I saw it before. But the whole, this is a secret government thing, like essentially underneath of a 7-Eleven. I saw it somewhere before, or maybe I read it in a book, but not like a super popular book, just like an indie horror book or something like that. I've read something like this. I'm pretty sure it was a book. I've read it before.
Okay.
So I got like whiplash watching this. Cause like, wait a minute. But I don't know. I don't know what the hell.
Maybe it was a Goosebumps book.
Very well could have been. Seems up that alley.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got a little bit of whiplash because like, what the hell is this adapted from something? But nothing that I could find. It seemed like an original screenplay.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of research because I don't have much to say in the vein of like what happens in the trailer itself. But I do have a few notes about backstory I was looking up because you covered everything that happened that was noteworthy.
Yeah.
So the idea behind this was they wanted to convey the personalities of our 3 main characters through their clothing, so which is why each of them are very stylized differently. They said Jamie Foxx wears his clothes to convey that he's a leader type role and a slick talker. Tanoia Paris is dressed up as if she's a blaxploitation star. Again, I don't want to comment on a genre of film I'm not well versed in, so I'm just going to compare her to Foxy Cleopatra from Austin Powers Goldmember, because you know, I don't want to speak on something I'm not too well versed in, because you know. But and John Boyega is dressed to convey that he is a grimy hustler, like complete with his gold tooth and everything.
Yeah,
the let me get $1 guy from Everybody Hates Chris comes to mind.
There's a pool.
Yeah, I never thought I'd fucking bring up that show during the pod. The humor is supposed to blend satire, horror, absurdist humor, as well as bend genres between horror, sci-fi, comedy, action, and drama. Which is something that we've talked about before when covering upcoming films. It seems like things that try to be every genre are what we talk about.
Yeah.
Because there's just way more going on. And lastly, the influences for this film, and I can see. I've only seen one of these 4 movies. No, sorry, I've seen 2 of them, but I can only see the influence one of them had. The influences for this film include They Live, which I have seen, and that's the one where I could totally see it being, you got a bunch of normal people confronting a government conspiracy, and naturally they won't be believed, and shit will hit the fan from there. The other influences are It Follows, which I have seen, but I don't see how that necessarily plays here. And then the 2 I haven't seen are Groundhog Day and Napoleon Dynamite.
The only reason I could see It Follows being a potential influence is because it exists in some kind of pocket of time that is hard to define.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that film and its subject matter, I can't imagine how that's relevant. But maybe, after you watch the movie, shit could happen. Shit could happen. Because,
in It Follows, it very much feels like it's a film that takes place in the past, and you're really unsure about, are there cell phones and things like that, and then the one friend has the weird clamshell, e-reader thing.
The deliberately ambiguous setting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what this has, too.
Maybe. I mean, you have fucking 70s blaxploitation era people walking around in potentially modern day 2023, which
right, because there's phones, there's cell phones.
Is probably jarring to the average person, because that's not a style of fashion that's common anymore. You don't often see giant afros, or I should say, you don't often see them as much as you used to. Unless you're me and I'm trying to go to the movies or a concert, in which case they're always right fucking in front of me. So that's fun. But
full-length fur coats.
Yeah, when I saw Barbarian in theaters last October, I tried to check out a local indie theater to support small businesses, but unfortunately their theater, 1, was small, which is fine, but 2, the seating wasn't angled, so it was all flat. So everyone in front of you blocked each other, and then the person who sat right in front of me had a big ass afro, and I was like, "Well, that's just lovely."
Gymnasium seating.
Yeah, I mean,
that's awful.
The tickets were like $3 a pop, so I'd still say I got my money's worth. But
sure,
it was a pain in the ass. But anyway, this movie, another super bizarre one, and as you'll come to find in this podcast, if you do weird, quote me on this, go ahead. If you do weird shit, I'll probably flock to see it, because I like weird shit.
I think everybody on this show is like that.
I don't know, I'm just super interested in people breaking the norms of filmmaking, because you have this set structure, and the structure, as the years go by, it differs. It'll start to bend and twist, but there's still ways you could put new spins on it. And I find stuff like, most notably, not that I've seen it, but based on the trailers and everything and what we've covered on the pod, Beau is Not Afraid is one of those films that, takes everything you know about filmmaking and throws it out the window. It's like, no, we're gonna do something bizarre. Asteroid City, looked to be that way as well. So,
Yep.
and I would argue that last year's one of my favorite films, Nope, did that very well because I deliberately had no idea what the hell it was going to be about other than aliens going into it.
Yeah.
And I was very pleasantly surprised. So, while I don't think They Cloned Tyrone is going to be a very well talked about film simply because of its direct to streaming release, its subject matter not necessarily appealing to the modern audience. Although, there are times where shit like, mainly miniseries, but shit on Netflix will blow up. Like Bird Box was super popular when it first came out.
Yeah, it was huge.
I just don't expect that. I expect a lot of talk about Barbie, a lot of talk about Talk to Me, a lot of talk about Oppenheimer, but I expect this to be a sleeper hit of the year. So
yeah, it looks hysterical, and I think that's what made it jump to my number one. Is I think as I watched the trailer, I just decided, I was like, this movie looks fun. This looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, Oppenheimer doesn't look like fun.
No, it looks like a fun.
It looks interesting. Yeah. It looks interesting, and it looks like there's some great performances in there and some great direction and cinematography, but it didn't look like fun.
Right.
But I watched the trailer for this one, and it made me laugh, and it's an interesting mystery and stuff, and it just looked like a film I would have fun with.
Yeah, but
and I love the easy access of just like, I have Netflix, so when it comes out on the 21st, I can literally watch it that day.
I probably will. And Oppenheimer, between its runtime and its subject matter, I don't think anybody's gonna come out of that theater like smiling and having a good time. It's very much a bleak telling of somebody's life and what they've created. And it's more, the tone is way more somber, so it's not something where you'll have a good time watching, even though you may enjoy it for what it is, and the filmmaking, the cinematography, the score, but the subject matter is not you're not going to leave happy.
Right.
Whereas this looks like there's no way in hell that you're not going to find yourself smiling at some point during its runtime.
Yeah, I think it's going to entertain in a big bad way. It may not be a tour de force or an award winner or anything like that, but it's going to be an entertaining one. It looks like to me.
I mean, early when I point these out, it's just me talking early on as potential, so nothing's in the cards yet. But it looks like another thing that might be interesting to cover on the pod. Maybe not this year or season, but eventually.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I think we covered them. So yeah, I mean, unless you've got anything else, Josh, I think we can let the good people go this week. Please reach out to us at screensermonpod@gmail.com. Send us your questions, your feedback, your requests, suggestions, all that stuff. And then you can also... Yeah, please harass the Boon about watching the film House.
I had to bring it up this episode. We were running out of time.
I'll tell you what, if I get 10 emails from listeners asking me to watch the film, I will watch it and review it on the show.
Cool, I got 10 friends. Let's go.
And yeah, and you can also find us on social media, on Twitter at Screen Sermon. You can also find us on Facebook. But like I said, send emails for suggestions and things like that. And yeah, we'll speak to you next week when Cody and I will review the film Midsommar as he is viewing it for the first time. So until next time, Josh, have a great one. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me.